League of Legends ARAMs have been a weird thing for me lately. Where it's supposed to be just like this game that you jump into and it's supposed to be just easier than normal League of Legends, right? Summoner's Rift is the main thing in League of Legends, where you got the lanes, the characters, the roles, and all these responsibilities, and all the CS and stuff, and you gotta build your power and know what's the right move at the right time and what objective to go to. But ARAMs, they kind of let you breathe a little. They kind of, you just play the game right, and all you have to focus is that what your champion does, and it's always a 5v5, so it's kind of like the more fun part of the game without the stresses of someone yelling at you for other than not knowing how to use your champion because you got randomly given it. Just basically like objectives and stuff, right? You could get small into that, like micromanage and just say like, oh, well, he should have hit the inhib or the tower in ARAM instead of chasing that guy to the back of his base. But, I digress. That's not the point. Point is that ARAM is this fun game, right? It's a fun game mode that you just jump in, you play, and you have fun, and your brain gets turned off, and whatever you get to play. Now, this is assuming you've been playing League of Legends for years, right? If you're listening to me talk right now, you've never played League of Legends. Basically, what comes with that is that, like, the game is the kind of thing that, because there are so many different characters in the game and each one has a set of like four abilities and a passive and like some other intricacies to each character, and how they interact with other characters, it's like there's over like 150 of them. So it's the kind of game you play for free, right? And then, there might be some kind of hype train. Your friends start playing it. I've been playing it ever since, I think, 2010 when I was in high school. And funny enough, our Korean friend in the class in our grade was saying how League of Legends was such a cool game and blah, blah, blah. And he got a whole bunch of us to start playing it. And only a select few of us stayed with the game, and I was one of the select few over the years. As a joke, like we all got on, like, oh, let's play League of Legends, blah blah blah, and someone named their account Biebs for Life, like Justin Bieber, and shit like that, right? Stupid names. But I ended up staying with the game. A few of us stayed with the game, and the other half of us just like they just went back to like playing basketball at high school or whatever. And so, yeah. So after that, I started to like I really liked League of Legends, but we always saw, like, as our Korean friend, like, he was super good at the game, and I always thought, like, I'm not as good as him, but I'm actually having fun. I don't care. I'll, like, play support while he does his thing, being, I don't know, top laner, mid, jungler, whatever he was doing. He honestly played all the roles, so it was whatever, but I always found it easier to ease into the game as support, and even then, like, I don't know, you see everyone else play well, and you just want to do well, too, so you try to be a really good support, and you find out you're actually kind of trash because you don't put out your wards and stuff, and your ADC yells at you, and blah, blah, blah. And half the time it's deserved, half the time it's not. You could just get a shitty teammate. Maybe you're the shitty teammate. You don't know. But in an ARAM, all that goes away. There's no thoughts of all that crap, like I just said. You just gotta worry about your character. And with the 150 characters, and then once you keep playing the game for long enough, as years go on, you kind of get invested into the game to where you don't think you could get out, especially if you're buying skins on top of learning all these champions. Because once you've learned all the champions, you have all this knowledge that's technically useless. Let's be real. It's useless outside of the game, but you have this knowledge. So you think, well, I'll play League of Legends because I have all this knowledge and might as well use it, don't want all that time being wasted. And it's kind of like investing in something, and the investment is technically going down and down on the chart, the big red arrow, but you can't pull out because you invested so much already. It's like, yeah. Anyways, but that's a perspective thing. League of Legends it's a game, right? It should be seen as a tool and not as a game that uses you as the tool to keep playing it. For business and numbers reasons, you know what I mean? Like oh look at our game, we have this many number of people playing at a time, so you're just a number in their system, and that's why they get you to play it, and then they get sponsors and blah blah blah. But that's another story. Anyways, you're playing the game, right, and you're having fun, and you get when you're starting the game, you get stressed, you gravitate to ARAM, and you're just having fun playing the game. And I when I was younger, in those times I would love just playing ARAMs. Not only because it got rid of the stress of thinking about objectives and feeling wondering if you're bad or good or not, but you got to feel good at being good at fighting as a champion, right, in ARAM. So you at least got good at that, and on top of that, you just zone out. After a while of learning the characters, it becomes muscle memory, and so you just jump into an ARAM. Okay, you roll for the right character you feel like playing in that moment, and you get it, and then you're like, okay, and then like hopefully your team's good enough, and you kind of just like. You turn off your brain a bit, but there's that muscle memory part of your brain that's still on. That like when like you've played so many games over the like months, years probably, that like if you were fiddlesticks, you know when to like jump into a fight with your ult, and when you shouldn't, and like when you instigate and when you should counter instigate a fight, like that type of thing, right? And it's like you know, at the same time you might have something else playing. Like if I don't know how many people had 2 monitors growing up. I didn't for the longest time, but eventually my computer setup, I had 2 monitors, luckily, and I would always put on Spotify at the time that I also, just at that same time around 2010, I got into and started subscribing to, and listening to all my music on there. And so at the same time, it would be like, you know, and you stay up late and you just like play the game. And so there I was, you know, maybe my friends were playing Summoner's Rift, but I was still playing ARAM on my own time, right? And so I was just like having a fun time, just, you know, I at the time, whatever music I was into, whether it was like punk rock or EDM, it was and especially around like 2013 when Avicii started like coming out with his biggest singles. I remember specifically that and Above and Beyond's Group Therapy album. I would listen to those, and even Daft Punk sometimes. Like it was a weird mix of like house, EDM, and punk rock for me growing up. And so like I would put on an album or something, or Spotify, I would make a nice playlist of like, I called it Blood Hungry Beats, and it'd be like EDM beats that just make you want to like fight someone in League of Legends, or like or even a first person shooter. I even had a playlist on my Xbox 360 I would make, which were my favorite punk rock songs, mixed of like System of a Down with some Sum 41 and blah blah blah. And it would just be tracks that, like, if I was playing like Gears of War 3, for example, and I had whatever the weapon's called, it's like it's like the Lancer, the chainsaw gun, but instead of a chainsaw, it's a big spear that the Locust had, and you just like charge at the enemy, and then you just like if you did it successfully and the guy wasn't looking, because it was kind of tricky, you could easily get killed like just charging at a guy with a fucking knife on your gun. If you did it well, he'd get impaled on your gun and do this cool animation. You throw his dead body off your gun, and those moments felt so much cooler when you had like fucking like Attack by System of a Down playing, Attack, and like, oh, it's so good. Or even The Bitter End by Sum 41. It was just like good times when you were a kid and you're just listening to really cool music that's just pumping you up while you're getting kills, while you're popping off, while you're playing the game, right? So League of Legends for me, it was more like house music, right? It was grooving to it. And so my brain is technically on autopilot, but like my eyes are paying attention to everything at every millisecond, and it's just like I'm just enjoying the fact that my muscle memory takes over, and I'm kind of just like sitting there front seat to my own experience, I guess, or perception of me playing this fucking ARAM and like listening to like Group Therapy from Above and Beyond or whatever, or like the Blood Hungry Beats playlist I mentioned earlier, where it's just like hard like beats just sound cool while you're blowing someone up with like an ult or something, right? So that's like my relationship with like ARAMs back in the day. Now now also, like I said, I mentioned briefly, is that like you're playing these sometimes, like if you're a degenerate like me, most gamers are, is that you're playing it at like, you know, you get home from school like 3 and then or 4, and then like, you know, it's supposed to be bedtime at like 9 o'clock, but you gotta wake up at like 6 for an early bus pickup or some shit like that, and like or 7, whatever, and you don't care, and you know your parents happen to not notice, and you're just, you know, it's 9 o'clock, it's 10 o'clock, it's 11 o'clock. I'll just play more. 11 o'clock. Oh, yeah, I'll just play more. 12 o'clock, sorry. 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and you almost all-nighter it, and then you're like, you know what, I think I should sleep, and you get half hour of sleep or something, and you wake up, and you go to school all sludged over, and you sleep in all your classes, and you come home, and you crash, and you wake up the next day and do it all again. I don't know, kids were dumb or stupid, right? And, you know, to blame it on the fact you're a kid is not wrong, but to say that as an adult, do I still do this? Not necessarily, but that's kind of what my story, my crux of this video kind of is, I guess, this talk. I kind of wanted, this happened to me about 2-3 weeks ago, might have been a month now, and I've been putting off talking into this video because I haven't posted a video on my channel in a while, so I've been afraid to make something that's worth it, but fuck it. This is BRP Raw. This is where I just say whatever, and if you relate to the conversation, you relate to it, or the monologue, I should say. Anyways, so what happened to me recently was that I didn't have something as extreme as like I described, where I have to wake up at 5 and I've only got half an hour sleep. Close, but not exactly. So I was on a while. I've for those who don't know, I have ADHD, so sometimes I'll put locks on my computer so that it will shut off my computer against my will. I'm forced to just not use technology or whatever, and then like go to bed or read a book or something healthier for the body and mind, right? And I recently did that for like a while, but I accidentally didn't block like Chrome or Google on my phone, so I would like bypass my locks by going to YouTube through a browser on my phone. And so the whole lock thing kind of fell apart. And so during that time, I was kind of just like doing whatever, watching YouTube too late, whatever, and all that stuff and things like that. And then eventually my locks turned off completely, and I had the freedom of just getting back on my computer, and I decided not to turn them on, which is a bad thing for me, but I decided not to. And I decided to play League of Legends. And we're talking like I hadn't played League of Legends for like months, probably a year. From like, okay, so when these events happened was about a month from when this video gets uploaded, right? A month ago, so we're talking like February-ish, March-ish, I forgot, I'm bad with time. So like around March, start of March, end of February, I decided to download League of Legends, and it's been like a year since I've had it installed or I've played it, and I haven't touched the game in a year, right? So I install it, and I'm like, you know what? Let's jump in an ARAM. Let's relive that fun of like playing music and being good at the game. And the first week I'm doing that, I am having the best fucking time of my life. I forgot what it's like to just... And I wasn't playing till late. I was playing... Usually my locks would cut me off at like 7 p.m. Or 7:30. But like now that they're off, I would play until like 10 o'clock or like 11. Nothing too crazy, but for me, it was different for what I would hoped for my daily schedule to be. Nonetheless, I was really like... There was a part of me that was like so like happy and like rejuvenated again to like be free to just like go against my locks and just, you know, do something I want to have fun doing, which is just reliving an ARAM while listening to some good music, popping off, sometimes not popping off. And that's the weird thing, right? Even when I was having bad matches, for some reason my attitude during the first week getting back into it, I just brushed it off. I didn't care. It didn't affect me emotionally. It was whatever. So the first week was honestly fun listening to, even now with Spotify's recommendation system, when you can like enhance a playlist, or you could like listen to a song radio and it'll give you more music similar to the music you've been enjoying all these years, right? Fills in the blanks, gives you some new stuff, which is fantastic. So again, just having a great time, listening to music, playing the game. End of the week happens. Monday comes again. You know, it's a work week, whatever, again. And I'm trying to play, and I'm not enjoying it as much as I did the first week. Like, the high I got getting back into it after a year was so good that it was weird that the second week, you'd think, like... you know, putting the same pieces together, I would just be fine. But at the time, also in the second week, I was shifted to a different schedule, an earlier schedule at my work. So I was actually getting worse sleep at the time, and I obviously contribute this to the fact that, you know, my enjoyment of the game was diminishing, but also the fact that, like an addiction, if you will. Now, you know, some might say this is a little extreme, but I'm someone who's not addicted to alcohol. I don't do drugs. The worst of my addiction, it was someone with ADHD, is honestly YouTube and video games. Like that, like, so I can say that, and most people will be like, oh, that's not an addiction, that's nothing. And you're right for the most part, but honestly, when it comes to the point where I'm like using YouTube and I can't stop myself till like 3 a.m. and pass out, or like I don't want to get off of League of Legends. And like and this is the thing, right? It's week 2, and even I think into week 3, I kept playing and not enjoying myself. Starting from week 2, mid of week 2, I would just like, whenever I'd start losing, as opposed to first week where if I lost I didn't care, I brush it off. I would just get like so frustrated and mad. And I even had this one night where we've all been there. We've all been there, what I'm about to describe. And no matter what game you've been playing, it just depends. The stars have to align just right for this to happen. But it's not hard for this to happen. Where you're playing a game you're really into lately, a multiplayer game or something, and you just lose, and you lose, and you lose, and you just get so fucking mad that you like smash your desk a few times, and you might even catch yourself like, I can't believe I'm like hitting my desk, getting this angry over this game. And even being aware of this, you're like, fuck it, I'm still gonna play, I'm gonna fucking win, I'm gonna turn the tables, I can't fucking stand this. And it's just like this irrational rage to keep going to just get the one win of the day. You might have had like a 5-loss streak out of like again 5 games, that you've spent like 20 to 30 minutes in each game, and you've just wasted so many hours, and your feeble little irrational mind thinking that like, oh, I'm gonna win this next game and that's gonna make it worth it, all this pain. And you know what? You get there and you sort of feel it. You sort of feel some kind of balance, some sort of morsel of food thrown at you after such frustration. You kind of think it's worth it, but obviously it really isn't. And you know, as you're pursuing it, it isn't. But your body's craving just some morsel of like, I'm not bad at this game. I can't be this bad at this game. It's not me. I'm good. Like, it almost gets into, like, your self-esteem to the point, like, you know, I mean, if you're delving in these kinds of emotions of, like, anger and sadness and whatever from losing games and having poor sleep, so your emotions are haywire and blah, 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 blah. It's just, like, easier for those moments to happen because I would find myself, like, and even not, okay, this is another thing, even not that 1 day or 2 days during this time of this last month that I've played League of Legends, and like, I didn't have that day of like, oh, holy fuck, I'm like losing, and then I finally get the win, and then I get off for the night. Like, even like while playing, I'll like, I'm not even that mad at all, but I'll play, and I'll win, and I'll lose, and I'll win, and then I'll lose and lose. And it just takes like 2 losses or even just 1 loss within like the back and forth between winning and losing games. I'm just like sitting there almost like emotionless, and I'm just playing the game because like I don't know what else to do with myself. And I'm just there. I'm like, I'm so depressed. Like, I don't want to play this game, but I also don't know what else to do with myself. And I'm just sitting there, just keep playing ARAMs. And it's like, this was fun. This used to be fun. And I think I'm playing this because I need to get my dopamine or whatever levels just to, you know, just to get to normal. You know, again, comparing to a drug addiction where, like, if you take a drug for a while, you need more of it because your tolerance builds. And it's just like, it's just weird, you know, how the human body works. And it's like, oh, isn't this weird? What an epiphany I'm having about how weird addiction is, guys. Like, this is like basic level 1 awareness of like addiction and how it affects the human body. Like, that's, I feel stupid saying all this, but like, you know, I'm just trying to keep the story of what I'm saying and the point I'm making like consistent is what I'm saying. So, anyways, yeah. So week 1. Super amazing fun time. Felt the best of my life, honest. Not the best, like it was the greatest moment of my life, but like it was just rejuvenating to a part of me that like I had let dormant for a while of just enjoying myself, right? And so that I was just like so hyped on it. And then the second week, it was like a mix of like feeling sad, feeling depressed, lack of sleep, whatever, and anger. And then the week 3, it was a little bit more of that stuff. And then, like, you know, I'm just, like, having shit on my side monitor, on my second monitor of, like, you know, it's YouTube of, like, people talking, people making, like comedy stuff, some podcasts, and TV shows. And I'm just, the routine became such, like, a desensitizing thing. And, like, monitor 1, League of Legends, ARAM, autopilot, muscle memory, having Spotify playing, Blood Hungry Beats, crazy good music. At the same time, having a fucking screen going of, like, some kind of, like, YouTube compilation of, like, I don't know, like, a favorite YouTuber talking about or making funny jokes about some shit, right? And then, like, in my downtime, I would, like, browse, like, fucking, like, a website or, like, Reddit or fucking 4chan or some website I could just read and, like, get some fix of outside of my boredom in between, like, the 10-second loading times of like, accepting a game and getting into it, right? It's just, like, that's tiny fraction of time, or even the tiny, like, 10 to 30 seconds I'd be dead in an ARAM when my character got killed. Like, it's not enough time to, like, actually do something else, but I would convince myself I would, like, it just feels better to have a tab open to, like, look at something for the 30 seconds I've been deceased in the game and I have my next item, and, like, you know, it's just, like, so fucked up. And the reason why I guess I finally decided to talk about it, and I'm on week 4 now. Let's say this is week 4, week 5, and I've kind of taken this weird break where I've not stopped playing League of Legends, but like I switched over to like Teamfight Tactics, which is in the same client, which is another game within the same browser on League of Legends, right? It's just like, you know, it's auto chess, you just put characters and stuff, and it's less engaging in the sense that you have to worry about your muscle memory moving around so much, and you have to like actually look at what's the best comp and like get the right items and stuff. You're paying more focus attention than muscle memory attention, but it's a different thing for your brain to do, right? At least for me. So switching to TFT was like a nice change of pace, and then like literally today, after like 3 days of playing TFT, I wanted to go back to ARAMs, and it was great. And I felt the fun again, actually, that I had from week one, just not as intense. It would be like one step under the amazing fun I had from that break. And obviously the point I'm making here is that, you know, what's it called? What is it? Distance makes the heart grow fonder. Usually that's used between two people who are in love, but you could even use this as an addiction, right? Time away from something makes it better because you're not just constantly getting, you know, fixes of it, and you can enjoy it better. You can taste it better. If you're having ice cream every day, the same chocolate ice cream for 3 days straight, you get sick of it, right? But if you have chocolate ice cream once a month, you're looking forward to that chocolate ice cream, and it tastes better because you took time away from it, right? And we all know this, and we all, like, just... I think the worst part of it all is that we just don't want to believe this is the true state of, like, human beings. That, like, we get caught in this, like, addiction cycle because, like, we don't want to, like, think for a moment, you know? We just don't want to, like, sit with ourselves in our boredom. At least for me, I'm realizing, like, and for, like, these past 2-3 weeks, and after that second and third week, I knew for a fact that, like, this is bad, this is wrong for me, I need to put my locks on, but I didn't. And, like, I need to, like, just sit with myself and just be bored. I need to just do this. But I would get such, like, a weird, visceral or, like, subconscious reaction to not let that happen. And the anxiety in me, and when I say anxiety in me, I don't mean, like, it's the kind of anxiety, like, oh, no, I start, like, scratching myself, or I get, like, itched up inside where I'm like, oh, my God, this is unbearable, I need to do something. It's a subtle anxiety. It's like... I know nothing's happening around me when I'm bored. I know that I'm going to be fine. And I know it's not that hard. But then the little whisper in the back of my mind goes, you know, yeah, you shouldn't be addicted to YouTube, but, like, you can still incorporate your addiction in a healthy way, right? Like that's when you start to realize you have an addiction to something. When you start, like, saying shit like, oh, I use this too much, but there's got to be some way I could still incorporate in my life that's, like, normal, quote unquote, right? When you start to rationalize how to keep the addiction, that's when you know you have an addiction, right? When you start talking like that, you're rationalizing how to keep it in your life, but you shouldn't. You should just cold turkey it, or just cold turkey it if it's something like YouTube, or, like, if you're... as opposed to something like drugs, where if you cold turkey it, you might feel with withdrawal symptoms. And who knows, maybe with YouTube and stuff like that, there is, like, a mini version of that, you know, as intense chemically as something like you putting a chemical in your body, such as drugs. But, you know, I digress. You know the point I'm making. It's just like, because I found myself, like, at the end of tonight, you know, I've had a healthy relationship with League of Legends in this week specifically. And, like, healthy in the sense that, like, I haven't been playing it too much, and I've actually kind of, like, switched to, like, other games when I felt bored of League of Legends, and just, you know, not staying up late and all that stuff. But I find myself in the last 2-3 weeks still, like, I know for a fact, like, I need to just get my sleep, not use anything, and, like, just sit with myself for 5 or 10 minutes. And I just can't. I can't let myself do that because, like, it scares me with what is my... Like, I guess I am just running away from my life when I do this. I think that's what it all really comes down to. And we all kind of... It's an obvious fact. People who are addicted to something use the addiction because it's better than whatever's going in their life currently. And it's a good distraction of whatever they're scared of or don't want to deal with in their life, and procrastinating or putting off and blah, 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 or bad things in their life, right? And, like... I'm living a pretty good life. I'm not really doing anything bad, and I don't think you have to be, like, living such a shitty life to want to get addicted to something. And, you know, maybe addiction is a strong word in what I'm trying to explain here, but, you know, to fall into something without turning your brain on anymore is, I guess, what more I'm saying, and then maybe it accidentally turns into an addiction. Maybe that is an addiction. I don't know, depending how you see it or how you feel the definition I'm describing here is. But bottom line is that, like... I know what I had to do. I know it's better for my soul to just, like, just sit with myself and just let my, you know, get into some form of meditation where I'm just, like, not caving into the thoughts and just, like, whatever. but I'm running away from the fact that like right, I guess I'll just be real. Like right now, my room's a fucking mess. I leave laundry all over the fucking room. My desk is a mess and blah, blah, blah. And it would only take me like 15 minutes to fix everything. And I really do believe in the principle of like a clean room is a clean mind. Like it's 100% such a true fact, at least for me personally. And I know it'll help my life. And I know it's a better alternative to what I'm living now, but I just won't do it. I won't do it because the first step is such like a cognitive pain to me. And, you know, this might be speaking to someone who has ADHD, but like, I don't know, man. Like, this has to be such a popular feeling for a lot of people. And, you know, maybe the whole point or idea is that like maybe a lot of people have ADHD now, so therefore that's why it's a popular thing with a lot of people, and that's why a lot of people can relate. But, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know. Again, I can only speak for myself, someone who has been diagnosed with ADHD clinically. And so, like, and I always hate when the conversation turns to this because there's always stigmas around it and how much you have it or how much you don't have it or if your diagnosis or not, blah, blah, blah. That's not my point. My point is that my story is supposed to be something relatable to someone out there who's, I guess, more specifically, if you've played League of Legends, you know what I'm talking about, the ARAM experience. You know what I'm talking about with, like, staying up late past when you should and, like, avoiding life, basically, right? It's just that, I don't know, maybe this is my own little personal breakthrough I'm letting share on the internet, because I know, like, that's the thing. I'm sharing this because I know for a fact I'm not alone, so I'm not afraid to share this. I know there's you listening right now, the only reason you could be listening to this point in the video, or audio, however format I'm sharing this, probably video on YouTube, is that, like, you've been there, and that's, like, and it's just nice to hear someone else has had that experience, right? That's the only reason why I would listen to, at least, to anything. I swear to God, that's got to be the only reason anyone listens to anyone ramble for a fucking hour or however long this video is going to be, right? So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I'm not afraid to just talk about it, right? It's just, because it's just nice, you know, to know someone else out there is dealing with the same thing. Maybe at the same time, maybe not. The beauty of YouTube is that I could post this, and then like 3 years from now, when League of Legends is still around, people can relate to it still. Or like it pops up in someone's feed at the right time, right? That type of thing. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's all experience. And I think the point of like this video, I had the idea of naming it my weird relationship with ARAMs. Because, like, yeah, it went from, you know, this new thing as a teenager, and then many over the years coming and going into the game, and, like, coming back to it, rejuvenating that sense of, like, my favorite music at the time, or, you know, being good at the game, and all the stars lining up to make you feel, like, so good as, like, someone who's gaming or whatever, or, like, just playing something and just, you know, I don't do drugs or alcohol, so listening to really good music while being really good at a video game is like my form of getting high, honestly. It's like my closest thing to getting high. Really fucking good music I'm into while being popping off in a video game. There's just like, it's my own way of getting high while being sober, I guess you can say, right? You know, it's my thing. It's the thing I do. So, yeah. And I guess I'm just trying to confess to myself here, is that like I'm just running away from my life, because I think it's just, again, it's not like I'm running away from like people in my life or things like that. It's more that like my room is a bit of a mess. I haven't been getting my sleep. I haven't been exercising as much as I should be. I haven't been paying close attention to my diet. I haven't been doing like a number of things, right? And it's just the idea that like it's such a mountain in my head of things. And again, if you have ADHD, this is kind of like the biggest thing about it, is that the executive function wants to shut down because it feels so overwhelmed when it's met with something like this. So maybe, again, specific for you, if you have ADHD or not, whatever. Maybe people who follow my channel are people with ADHD, and it's like a very relatable experience in that way with most of my videos here. But whatever. My point is that like, my point is that like, I'm going through all this. I'm silent running, Gorillaz reference, and like I know I'm doing it. I know what I should do. I don't, and it's just like it's a sad trap. And I've had this trap way before when I was younger, in a way worse, darker place way, because back then I didn't know ADHD, so I blamed it all on my personality, right? And like if you have ADHD and you don't know it, you kind of just end up blaming it on like you as a person, thinking you're just a bad person. But after you get diagnosed, it all just makes more sense. Not that you like relieve accountability and responsibility, but you forgive yourself in the sense that like you realize there's something medically wrong with you, and therefore it's not a question of your character, but more of your just genetic makeup or physical disability to a degree, right? So I don't know. This ended up accidentally talking about ADHD, but I think what I wanted to talk about here is that, like, if you've been in that place, you know, share in the comments like your stories of like that's been relatable to this, or if like this has helped you, this talk, you know, because like again, the best thing about my videos on this channel is that like hearing your guys' stories and reflections. We're all people on this earth, and we all have like similar experiences. So if we all share like our version of the experience, it might create a grander picture of like how common is this, how have other people dealt with this, how have people solved this, how have people gotten worse situations than this, you know. It's interesting, right? It's the human experience. You only get one life, so asking someone, you know, who's lived an entire different life, their experience is pretty useful, you know. So so yeah, I don't know. I guess the whole point of this video is, yeah, to share. It would be nice if I heard like some of your guys' experience while I share mine. But it's also just, I guess, a cautionary tale to myself and a bit of a little personal therapy for myself to just express finally that, like, you know, I need to just hit the restart button on my life. And, you know, again, what I've found works for me personally is if I just turn off my brain and just do something, get the ball rolling, you know, tackle the mountain one rock and step at a time. It's so infuriating that we all know what to do, but we don't do it. It's just sad. And another thing that helps for me, I know, is that like if A is not present, I will not do B. And what I mean by that is that, like, for the simple example, if I don't buy chocolate chip cookies, I'm not going to eat the cookies. So that's why I even had like the locks on my computer. If I can't get on my computer, I won't stay up late and I won't do these things. It's actually very easy for me that if A is not present, C will happen instead of B, which is like a nice thing to know about myself. But like when you're in the maze and you know you're in the maze, it still takes effort to follow the right wall all the way to the exit. It still takes effort to walk that far, because you don't even, it could be a few steps, it could be like 5 miles to walk out of the maze, but you got to follow the right wall, because, you know, technically a maze is just one long wall. So if you follow one left or right all the way, you'll eventually get out. It's just, yeah, that's a fun little trick. If you didn't know, that's how you get out of a maze. You just follow the one side of the wall all the way. But yeah, yeah, I guess it's just, I hope whoever is listening to this, that if you relate to this, that like me, you will realize this, and you'll want to step out of the maze. You'll want to follow the wall, and you want to get out. And that, you know, just know you're not alone. We all come through with this, and like, you're not a failure if you end up doing this a lot. You know, you're not a bad person. It's just you're just falling into like something you can't control against your human nature and instinct, but you should still be accountable. It doesn't mean it's impossible. It's not a scapegoat, because then you're just being a jackass, you know, and you know you are. You can have a conversation with yourself and be honest with yourself, and you know if you are or not, right? You like just you know, okay? You don't have stop lying to yourself if you're saying you don't know. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You know when you're saying things you shouldn't be saying. Okay, just honestly, just go with your gut feeling and ask yourself and be honest with yourself. You know how to do it. Don't act like you don't if you're saying you don't. Which I don't know who out there would be like, oh, I don't know what if I am or not. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You have been living your life who knows how long. You do. Just have that conversation with yourself. Realize this thing's real, and just take a step to make yourself better. It just doesn't feel as good for the brain, you know. You don't get a dopamine rush if you instead read a book, which you actually really enjoy, or you go for a walk in nature, which actually makes you feel nice and you get your body moving, or you exercise and you actually get your blood flowing and your brain working better. But, you know, it's just, I mean, exercise might actually give you a dopamine hit, but the other stuff might not so much. But I don't know. Point being is that you got to fill your life back up with like the good things, right? Even if they don't give you those hits. But, you know, that's the problem with our lives today. Everyone needs their hit every second, every day. It's just sad. And to get out, to have such like a feeling of like subtle, like a dark giant hand anxiety just holding you. It's not squeezing you like a panic, but like it's just, you know, it's around you. It's got you. And just like, it doesn't even need to squeeze hard if you're trying to escape. It just needs to make you realize it's around you for you to feel anxious. You know, it's that. If I had to describe it visually, that's what it's like. This type of the subtle anxiety, as I call it. So yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say. I think that's about it. I guess I'm just saying is that, like, with the ARAMs, they could be a great thing with the right amount of balance, and we just take your time and take some time away and take breaks and do something else different. But just, you know, it's not right, because then it could just lead to other just addictions of staying up for the sake of staying up. You got to get back to your life. You got to get back to, like, having a goal and a purpose and keeping that at the forefront of your brain and body. And you can't look at it as you failed, so you're a failure. You got to look at it as you fell off the horse, get back on, you know? Just because you broke the streak doesn't mean you give yourself the excuse that, oh, I should just keep the loser streak going because I already broke my good streak. No. If you have 10 days of success and then 1 day of failure, you shouldn't give yourself the excuse to now just having 10 days of failures because, oh, I broke my streak. No. Like if you succeed 29 days out of the 30 and that 1 day you failed was in the middle, if you kept going and you did 29 days, you did 29 days out of 30. You didn't fail. You did 29 days out of 30. That's better than none. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's better than 2, 3, 5. It's amazing. It's a 99 or 98% chance of success, as opposed to you thinking that one failure caused yourself a 0% of chance of success. Too many, you know, these Ranger Rants, they muddle so many things of, like, first I was talking about video games, I was talking about my past, now I'm talking about responsibility, now I'm talking about my life, and I'm talking, you know, I wish my YouTube videos could be something concise for you to take in, but there's so many people doing that out there. I don't I don't care. Like, I care about you listening. I care about myself. I care about, like, whoever this can help. But it's just, like, there's so much YouTube out there, like, and I already got a main channel where I'm doing gaming stuff, where I'm, like, doing editing, and I'm trying to do things, like, the more traditional way as we do things on YouTube. But, like, if I don't give myself this, where I can just ramble, you know, and be, like, an honest human being, then then we might as well just go fucking live in the woods and launch all the nukes, because, like, then life's not really worth living if you just can't, like, let go, you know? I think that was a really funny way to put it. I don't know, that was a weird way for me to put that, but, like, honest, because I didn't want to say, like, you might as well just, like, kill yourself, because that's a fucked up thing to say. But, you know, it's just more that, like, it's like you're not living life. You're just, like, kind of just, you're on a track, and you're putting on another mask in front of a certain person that you need to wear a mask from, and then you see another person in your life, you gotta wear a different mask, you know? It's just, fuck you. Oh, sorry, that felt mean to say, but fuck me too, right? It's just like, fuck everything, fuck, you know, just fuckity fuck. Yeah, I felt bad, I take that back, I'm sorry, but again, the point is just like, who cares, right? Who cares? Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If this sparks something nice in you, please share. I love hearing people's stories on this channel. It's honestly the best thing about this channel, is that, like, I get to share something resonates, and then I hear someone's story. It's just, like, honestly the coolest thing ever. I love it. And I think that's what YouTube needs to get back to. So hopefully this video did that for you if you listen all this way. And this video only got, like, 30 views, and it's, like, a lifetime of 10 years being on this channel, on this YouTube world. If YouTube still exists by now, whenever you're listening to this, then whatever, who cares? I did what I did. It's out there. If no one needed it, oh well, it's out there. It doesn't matter if someone needs it. I want to put it out there. And that's about it. And that's all I got to care about. Oh, man. Life's stupid. Life's funny, great, beautiful, and it's stupid. Isn't it stupid, guys? This started as a video about ARAMs, and now I'm talking about life like some loser who thinks he knows something about philosophy. Dude, I don't know anything. I don't know fuck all, but, like, if it sounds like it makes sense, I must be saying something right? Unless you're dumb, and you know, me making sense is actually stupid because you have stupid brain, and my logic is stupid, so stupid logic to you is smart logic. Yeah. Okay. Now, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just having fun talking at this point. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Please leave a like if this video is helpful to you. Check out my main channel or my Let's Play channel or any other stuff if you're interested in what, like me, because I do comedy stuff. But yeah, this is my real channel. This is my BRP Raw. I always have a point in mind, but none of these are ever scripted, so hopefully this was something nice to listen to for you while you're playing a video game or whatever on your second monitor, just as I was all this time. But yeah, well, not like I was playing something now, but you know what I mean. All right, guys, thank you for listening, and see you next time. Cheers.